Hey everybody, Thomas here, and today I'm cutting a wood that I absolutely despise cutting. Even just cutting it with my chainsaw, it was extremely difficult. Some of you already know what this is. This is southern live oak. It is an interlocking grain oak that grows along the coastlines of the eastern and southern United States. As you can see, it's this wavy pattern through here. As this tree grows, it's essentially twisting. Everything about this tree is just difficult. They grow slow, they live forever. Live oaks essentially maintain their leaves all the time and everything. But the way that the grain structure is on this, everything is interlocking and woven together. This is the hardest of the hard that I have cut. It is not fun by any way, shape, or form. As you can see, again, I'm cutting with my chainsaw and I'm like burning it up trying to cut through this. This has been sitting on the ground here for quite some time. I say quite some time, maybe a year-ish or so. There's a little bit of spot line there, some deterioration in the sapwood. Hardwood, I mean, this is like a rock. And you may ask, like, man, he cut that log into a small piece. Yeah, I cut this into a small piece because I didn't want to cut any more than this. And the reason I'm cutting this is because I recently saw a video that was put on the Scorpios. If you watch battlebots, I'm huge into battlebots and I like watching their YouTube channel. And they actually said, hey, what if you were to build a homemade battlebot, what would you armor it with, or what would you build, incorporate into it? And I responded back, live oak. Because live oak is like no other oak out there. It's extremely dense, it's extremely hard, and based on the grain structure, it's interlocking on the Janka, I think it's a Janka hardness test, whatever. It's like 2,800 pounds or something like that. It's something crazy high. Which that test essentially, I don't know if it's a quarter inch or half inch. It's a ball bearing that's being pressed into the wood and everything. And it's how many pounds of pressure does it take until that ball bearing is halfway into the wood. This right here is on the scale of some of the exotic hardwoods that you get out of South America. This is no joko hard, like not fun to cut, and I despise cutting this. However, in my mill, it's a Timber King 2000 with a diesel engine and everything, and I think I've got a brand new blade on there right now. We'll definitely find out when I'm cutting this thing, but we're gonna go ahead and cut this up, and then we're gonna torture test this wood to see what it'll do. Because my response to them, I said this would be an armor system. It could be an ablative type armor, if you will, and it would be something that could take hits, absorb hits. If you know any history, USS Constitution Old Ironsides is made out of live oak. We have forests set aside to grow wood for the Constitution, and they are live oak. Again, it takes a very, very long time to grow. This is the one where they were talking about cannonballs would bounce off of it. It's amazing. It can take a hit, it can absorb something, it can also, shred off as needed. Because it's an interlocking grain, even if you were hit by something that's got a spinning blade or something like that, it may not take a chunk of it off, it may take small pieces of it off, but this could be a very good type of armor, if you will, because that's what they used to build the Constitution out of. And they still maintain it, and as timbers get destroyed on it or rot out, they'll replace them with more live oak. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this on the sawmill, and we're going to show you how hard this is. I've cut this a few times on video. I despise cutting this wood, but I thought this would be a great video, referring it to another video, and hopefully some people think this is cool, because I do. I love watching battlebots. My kids and I, we watch it all the time. And the Scorpios channel, they do a great job at showing some behind the scenes stuff. So here's my take at what I would use as an armor system on a battlebot. Stay tuned. All right, folks, I'm letting the sawmill warm up, but I'm gonna take a small little slice off the top here and everything, because then I'm gonna turn this thing upright, but I wanna get a nice flat edge on this side. I don't wanna cut the widest portion of this board just because it is so hard. And I know some people are like, oh, such and such is harder, this, that, and the other. I have cut Osage, I have cut blackjack, I've cut any kind of oak you can imagine, and other really, really hard woods. This one takes the cake. Unless you've cut live oak, you don't know how hard this is. This is no fun to cut. I've cut pecan, hickory, none of those compared to this right here. This is hard stuff to cut. That interlocking grain, everything about this is just not fun. But we are going to show kind of what these boards can handle and do and everything. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead. I got to get my tripod to figure out where that's at. I'm going to make probably the first. Yeah, I'll make the first couple cuts real time, and then we're going to look at the grain structure. We're going to see if we can do some bending stuff, see how that handles some impacts and stuff like that. But not that big. I am going to still save some wood out of this to use it for other things, but just because it's a rare type of wood where I'm going, they don't have it up in Wisconsin. So I will have a few pieces of this, and I'm going to make some cutting boards and stuff out of it. But everything about this is just hard to work. Just for a second, kind of look at this. But the crazy thing is, I've actually cut live oak up to 30 inches or so, so pretty large stuff. This one right here was cut at 1.25 inches, and you can kind of see, hopefully this shows up in the camera pretty well there, you can see that grain. It's really wavy and stuff like that. Everything kind of like ties together, but that is some really pretty stuff. It's got some nice spalt going on with it and everything. I don't have my scraper. I got wood. I can use it as a scraper. And I'll get some water on this later. But again, hopefully you can see this. But you've got all this wavy wood right here. It is really gorgeous wood, but man, it's hard. So we're going to continue cutting. We're going to flip this over some more. In fact, I'm going to turn this all the way over because I've got a nice squared edge over here, nice flat edge here, and we're just going to go ahead and slab this down at 1.25 inches. Yeah, I think 1.25 inches would be good, and then we'll do some testing with that. So I'm going to throw on a time lapse so I don't make the video too terribly long, and we'll go from there. Okay folks, the wind has picked up, so hopefully I'm not gonna get too much wind noise in here, but I want to show y'all what some of the grain looks like. Now the pith section I stayed away from. I went ahead and cut that one at 2 inch, well, an inch and a quarter times 2 plus whatever the 1/16 of an inch difference there is in the blade. Let's go ahead and look at some of these slabs here. So I'll show you the difference between the sapwood, the heartwood, and kind of what it looks like on live oak. I'll get this piece right here. Alright, so again, we're dealing with demon wood here. This is one of my least favorite woods to cut. It's hard. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong. It is definitely beautiful. This is your heartwood right here. This is a lot of your sapwood. This is the transition kind of between it, but there's a definite difference here in the wood. If you look at all this grain structure, see if I can get in there. You've got some like going this way, you got some that curves that way, you got a little bit that curves that way. It's going every which way. And you can see it really out here on the sapwood really well. Let's get this other piece right here. I mean, look at that. It's wild. Almost like a flame pattern within the grain and everything. And this one, this is getting close to the pith. So the other side, let's see if I can get some water on here, throw that off. Yeah, wearing tennis shoes is a bad idea because my feet are soaked. And everyone's like, where's your scraper? Well, I don't have my scraper on me right now. I'm using my hand, that's my scraper. All right. There we go. This is actually a really good representation. That grain is everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And you can see the teeth, the set marks started getting out here a little bit, but this is hard, folks. This would be a really pretty, you know, armor, if you will, on a battlebot. Now this piece right here, that's a pith section right there. That wouldn't be too good. That's gonna come apart on you, no problem. But anyways, right here, from here down, this is pretty much close to your quarter sawn wood, your most stable, and some of your strongest wood. Yeah, I don't know, this would be cool. So we're gonna take a few of these pieces and we're going to see what we can do to them. See if we can break them. But isn't that amazing? It's pretty. That would be one heck of a beautiful battlebot. And some of y'all, oh no, some of y'all might think like this is kind of corny, but you know what? I'm an engineer. I've got a couple engineering degrees and everything, and this is what my kids and I like to watch. So this is what we're going to talk about today. Pretty stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and start doing some testing on it. Okay, so the first test we're going to do, I'm going to use a 10-pound sledge. That's a 10-pound sledge. How big a boy are you? Well, I'm about 310 pounds, 6'4". So I can throw a sledge. This is one of our first pieces that came off. As you can see, there's sapwood here on the outside and everything. It's 1.25 inches thick. Let's see. Now this is not really the best example because if this is going to be armor, there might be some backing behind it, but maybe not. So let's see, can I break this with a 10-pound sledge? Nope. We've gotten a little bit of cracking going on, but it is not broke. And folks, I'm not holding back. Let me do this from distance where you can see. I'm putting all I got into it. I'm not doing like, I'm doing a. That's a lot of hitting. Not a lot going on. And it's still held together. Since it is an interlocking grain, and anyone who has tried splitting live oak, they know, silly Thomas, you can't split live oak because look at that grain structure. that grain structure right there is all interwoven. So you got some pieces that go in, you got some pieces that go straight. Woo! All right, that's only 1.25 inches, and that's exterior sapwood. So now let's see. I'm going to go ahead and use my splitting axe, and we're going to show an impact with kind of like a sharp edge on it on the smaller piece here. And as you can see, I'm doing this where it's up off of something, so it's taking the full freaking brunt of that hit. Aim for about right there. And I missed. About right there. Gotta be careful. So that was a pretty good hit with kind of minimal. I mean, I might be in there just under 1/4 inch with a nice hard hit. Let's try to see how many strikes it takes to cut this essentially in half. And in fact, I don't want it to bounce. Let's put it right on the ground and give her hell. Cut the other side too. That's taking some hits, and I'm hitting it, so I ain't holding back. There we go. But again, as you can see, again, this is sapwood on the outside. That took a little bit there. Whew, I can still make a spoon out of that. It doesn't really fracture anywhere else. Stays pretty well together. All right, so that's impact testing. From a blunt object, it does very well. From a sharp object, it does okay. We did get through it, but again, I'm hitting that where there was no bounce back after the first one or so. It's getting direct as hard as I can throw myself into it. Okay, so this next test is just kind of corny, but it shows you how dense this is. Now, let's see. Does live oak float? It appears to either be neutrally buoyant or, nope, she totally sank down in there. Yep, and that water is stuff that my kids have been playing with, so I'm going to dump this out. That smells disgusting. My kids have put all sorts of fun stuff in there. So it appears that it's denser. We're going to try that with the second piece just to verify. Okay, so I got the other piece that broke off. Again, as you can see, this is a dry piece right here. Try the same thing. We're just going to, I'll put it in there nice and slow and then see if she lets go. So it is barely floating. So slightly less dense than water, just barely. I mean, it's almost neutrally buoyant, but it is slightly less dense. It's like an iceberg there. But yeah, so there you go. So it is a heavy wood. It is a hard wood. Now let's go see what else we can do with this stuff. Okay, folks, next we're going to try something. I'm trying to figure out what's the hardest hitting thing that I have that would be simulating something like a battlebot. I know this is, probably not the same, but we're going to go ahead and try some 22s on it. Nothing much, but again, I think that would be a pretty good example of a very precise, hard hit. So we're going to back up, I don't know, we'll go 25 yards back, and then you'll get this angle right here, so we'll see what it looks like. I'll be shooting at the one on the left first, and we'll see how she goes and what the result is. If this will shoot through, it probably will, but we'll see. It did shoot through, which I thought it would, but let's see, does it shoot through too? My dog Molly always gets excited because she thinks she's going to get to go squirrel hunting or something like that. All right, so let's take a look at this. Haha, look at there. Oh, sorry. We have Molly back up. No squirrels. No squirrels, I promise, no squirrels. All right, so we have quite a few lead pieces right here. So we got some right here, and a couple pieces here as well. So it went through one, did not go through two. Okay, folks, this was a fun video to do. You know, based on the video that I saw from Scorpios and everything, this got my wheels turning. Could live oak, or could some kind of hard wood that we cut and everything be used as some type of armor for battlebot? And you know, we've got these 22 bullets here that, you know, made it through the one, and then we have some other stuff right here where it did not make it all the way through. But this wood here, as you saw, we took this wood, oh, you're really getting in the shot there. We took this 1.25 inch outside. This is like literally not the strongest of the strong. You can see that grain there is interlocking woven grain and everything. We took this wood here and we torture tested it. We hit it with the 10-pound sledge. We put it to the test with the splitting axe. We shot at it. I was going to see if I can break it with the tractor and everything, but really on a small piece like this I wouldn't be able to. Wood is unique. It's made by nature. It's completely organic, but it can be formed by man into anything you want. The good thing about wood is if you screw up, you can cut it down again, you can sand it down again, whatever. You can bond it together with glue and stuff like that, but really, in an application, if it was going to be on a battlebot, I would actually have like metal around the corners and stuff like that, and have this instead of like some of the plexiglass or the whatever, some other type of material on there. This could be alternative. As we saw, also it was slightly less dense than water. One piece did sink, one piece was almost neutrally buoyant, but it was buoyant and everything. So it is a dense wood, but it is a strong wood. This could be something, I don't know if there's any rules that say you can't use wood and stuff like that, but I think this is cool. The fact that it has these interlocking grain on there and everything kind of ties together, this could be a cheap way to add some armor to a battlebot, I think. I don't know. You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we like watching the battlebot stuff, and this is an interesting video, something different, but it really piqued my interest. I'm like, you know what? Let's do something fun. Let's try to beat the crap out of some wood and see what happens to it. So hopefully the folks at Scorpios get to see this video. Maybe they like this video, maybe they don't. But you know, it'd be cool to see a battlebot one day that has some wood armor on it. And if I was going to choose any wood, there's a couple species I'd choose out there. Live oak would be pretty much at the top. Osage orange would be another good one that's up on there, also known as bodock or hedge apple, stuff like that. Then some of your exotics that are coming out of South America and stuff like that. But the problem with the exotics is they've got an exotic price tag on them too. But Osage, live oak, typically inexpensive, very hard wood that I think can take a beating and keep on going. And if it does break, you have a few extra pieces with you. You slide it in there or something like that. It might be pretty cool. I would like to see how this would handle up against like Witch Doctor or Uppercut. Ooh, that might be rough on it, but I don't know. It'd be pretty cool. Tombstone. Ooh, Tombstone would be that'd be a hard one to hit. But anyways, we'll see. Thought this is interesting. Please like, subscribe. We'll see you around. Enjoyed making this video. Thanks.